Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is the Haves and the Have-Nots, Season 5, Episode 10. And the name of this episode is We All Need Forgiveness. Now, this was more of a filler episode, but yet it was very entertaining. And I definitely see there's a lot of things that are going to transpire later on. Now, the episode opens up where Jeffrey and Justin were pretty much fighting over Wyatt. They pretty much wrestle to the ground. Justin's gun falls out. Jeffrey gets the gun, and then we see that an officer comes in and actually sees that Jeffrey has the gun pulled out on Justin. The officer tells him to put the gun down, and the next thing you know, the damn officer shoots the fucking gun. Justin snapped out of it, got so damn mad, he wrestled that damn cop and punched his ass like, what the fuck you think you doing? He's like, I thought you were in danger. He's like, no, we were just playing around. Why don't you take your rookie ass downstairs? I was like, wow, Justin. You caused all of this shit, and then old boy comes in there thinking that you're in danger. He shoots the gun, and I actually thought he shot Jeffrey, but he didn't. He actually missed Jeffrey. But Jeffrey fell because he probably was scared that the fact that he shot the gun anyway. So after that, fucking Jeffrey is mad at Justin. Justin's like, and he's like, don't touch me. Get your damn hands off me, Justin. You know what? Just get the hell away from me. Get the hell out of here. Just go. He's like, it wasn't supposed to be like, no, just go. Because I'm like, dude, you could have got his ass killed just because you were jealous. I mean, y'all remember that damn song I sung last week, Justin is jealous. Well, yeah, now we've seen that Justin's jealousy could have ended with someone being dead. So Jeffrey ain't fucking with him and told him to get the fuck away. Next we see Wyatt and Jeffrey talking. Wyatt's like, who is this guy? What's his deal? What's going on with you guys? And Jeffrey's lying, nothing. He's like, well, it must be something if he did all that shit. And then he notices that he had told Justin to leave, but Justin's outside and he's not leaving. And he says, like, no, you're not going back down there with him. That guy's crazy. I'm not going to let nothing happen to you, Jeffrey. You're going to stay here with me. And Jeffrey's like, look, I got me a car. So I'm good. I have my own car, so I'm going. And he's like, no, Jeffrey, I need you to stay. And he's like, look, again, I told you to call that fucking number. You need to call it. I'm not staying here, And it's good because Jeffrey is finally putting himself in that position where he's no longer going to be an enabler to Wyatt's bullshit. So he finally leaves and he's still begging Jeffrey to stay, but Jeffrey's like, fuck that, and he ends up leaving. Next, we see that Candace is in bed with little Quincy. She sees that Benny is sleeping, but Benny is sleeping right by the front door, just to make sure her ass don't try to walk out that door. So she pretty much proceeds to get her purse, goes to the window, and she sneaks the fuck out. The next time we see her is that she's at the Artesian. She actually calls Erica and David, and we see that Erica and David had a good time on that date. Erica is still trying to play the Southern Belle, but nah, David is ready to play, baby. David just got that look like, yeah, tonight's the night, baby. Won't you let me up in there and let's see what's up. Next thing you know, they kiss, and he's like filling up on her and everything. I'm like, oh shit. David is getting that swag back. He about to tear Erica up. Next thing you know, they both going at it and everything. She gets a call, and he's saying ignore it, but then she ends up answering the phone, and it's Candace. Candace is still saying that she's at the Artesian, and she needs, the stuff that she asked for. She asked for some hair, she asked for a dress, and also asked for some money. And while she's on the phone, David is going down on her, and she is just losing her mind when she's on that phone. And she's like, do you think this is going to last all night? She's like, I hope it does. David's back in the swing. And I'm like, wow. So She sets every, so she pretty much gets off the phone, you know, gets Candace's address and all of that. She takes care of that, then comes back to work her, then they get back at it, you know. She's now on top of David. David gets a call, and it's from Jim. And she pretty much is going to work on him while he's on the phone. And he's like, no, don't do that, don't do that. This ain't going to work for me. It works for you, but it ain't going to work for me. I was so here for this. And then the reason why Jim called is because Jim wants the number to Oscar, a.k.a. Brandon, you know, to find where Wyatt is, because no one knows where Wyatt is located. So all of a sudden, Jim actually noticed something's going on. He's like, yo, what's going on? He's like, oh, I got a friend. He's like, oh, for real? He's like, okay. But then Jim was kind of laughing like, yeah, he's finally getting his groove on, and he ain't fucking with Veronica no more. So Jim is kind of happy that he's doing him. So he pretty much says that, look, you know, I don't want to interrupt you, but yeah, just text me that information before you get too, you know, preoccupied with what you're doing. So he does that. Next thing you know, Erica and David both are on their phone. She's like, make this quick. And David's like, oh, no. What we doing is not going to be quick. Oh, trust me. This ain't going to be quick. We just got to be quick with these texts. You know, let's handle these text messages, and then we can get back to doing what we were doing. And she's like, sounds good to me. So I'm like, oh, David done whipped it out for her, and she is all in. And he all in too. So I thought that scene was pretty cute. You know. Yeah. She done woke up something in David, and David about to tear her ass up. Hope you're ready, Veronica. Next, after Jim hangs up the phone, he pretty much, Captain comes in and is like, I thought I told you to get the hell out of my house. She's still on her damn rant and shit, and she's just still in her phase. So she comes downstairs, she gets a bottle of wine and 2 glasses, and then all of a sudden Jim like, yo, why you got 2 glasses for? What's going on? And then he's like following Catherine, and Catherine's like, look, I need some relaxation, and this is for my friend that's here. And then all of a sudden we go into the room, and it's a guy there, but he's a masseuse. You know, he's there to give her a massage. And she's like, he's like, well, I'm very flattered, ma'am, but I actually don't drink on the job. And then we literally see that Catherine is literally trying to flirt with this guy, but Jim is peeping at that, yo, you just doing this shit to make me jealous. I'm not falling for it. She's like, look, he's like, look, Catherine, it's obvious the guy is not into you. And then she's like, yo, do you want a sugar mama? And he's like, no, ma'am. He's like, it's too bad, because, you know, I could really make it worth your while. I'm like, Catherine. Catherine just had me tripping. And Jim eventually started getting his feelings, because Catherine really started to dive. It's like, he's not going anywhere to give me my massage. He's like, son, get the hell out of here right now. And then all of a sudden the guy runs off. And they have this exchange, and she's like, well, actually, he really wasn't a date. I just did that because your ass wouldn't follow me and you wouldn't go away. But I really did want a massage. And she's like, what's wrong, Dave? What's wrong, Jim? What, you think I can't get a man? And he was like, well, getting a man and paying for a man are 2 different things. And she's like, yeah, and you would know about that, wouldn't you? So yeah, they had me tripping out with that. And then she's like, and then he says that, look, instead of you worried about who I'm screwing or who I'm messing with, you need to be putting your priorities into finding out where Wyatt is. And he's like, look, I got somebody on it, and I'm working on that. And she says, great. Now, once you do that, get out. And he says, why don't you get out? And she says, maybe I will. I'm like, Jim, really? Like, Jim ain't gonna fucking walk away, because everything that Jim has is attached to Catherine. If it weren't for Catherine, Jim wouldn't be where he is in life. And we all know this. So Jim ain't just gonna fucking walk away. Yeah, you're gonna have to really do some shit to get that nigga to leave. And Jim is fucking crazy. So after that, we see that Jim goes downstairs and he calls Oscar to get information on Wyatt. He pretty much finds out Wyatt's, info, but doesn't know where he is yet. But he says that he actually charges, 10% commission for his work or whatever. And he's like, I'm gonna give you 5. He's like, oh no, I do 10%. But he says 10% is 1.2 million because the main reason what they want to do is find out where Wyatt is, but also find out where that 12 million is. So he said that's 1.2 million, but he's like, yeah, but I'm good at what I do and I'm the best, and there are negotiations. So when you actually come to terms that you're going to pay 10%, we can have this conversation. But until then, I'm getting off the phone because I'm not negotiating with you. And he's like, okay, fine, I'll pay you 10. I'm like, yeah, Jim, trying to cut that man out of his motherfucking money. You asking him to do a damn favor. Damn, Jim's a damn mess. Okay, so next we actually see that Candace has got the hair, she has her dress and has her shoes, and pretty much we see that Oscar, she goes to the bar. We see that Oscar's at the bar, so we already see that the stage has been set. She actually talks to this bartender named Rocky, and comes to find out Rocky is in the same line of business as Candace, but he pretty much screams as a bartender. What a good way to get tricks. You working at the bar and all of these rich clients are coming there. So yeah, he got a good setup. So him and Candace are like really talking or whatever, and she's saying that you want me to start a tab for you, whatever. I just got to get your credit card because right now the boss is on my ass. But she's like, dang, aren't you getting straight? And he's like, what? She's like, yeah, I know how much you like to run these guys out here, and all of a sudden now you're trying to protect your job. And he was like, yeah, you know how it is. And next thing you know, she pretty much lets him know she has a mark, and she lets him know that the mark is Charles. And he's like, oh, okay, I see you. So she goes over there, she talks to him, and he pretty much asks like. He pretty much just asks for another whiskey. He doesn't even look up at Candace. So she finds out what he's drinking. She gets him another whiskey, and then she sits down with him, and they start to talk. And they pretty much get acquainted or whatever, and they kind of go back and forth. And eventually, she introduces herself. He introduces himself, and she's like, "Oh, are you Charles?" Like, no, please, don't do that, please. Because obviously Charles is trying to hide because Charles is running for president. So he's pretty much a well-known figure, and, he's trying to stay low-key. So Candace is pretty much, just having small talk with him, and he's saying that, yeah, I sit over here because, I can be incognito. Nobody can know where I am. And she's like, yeah. And based on where you are, no cameras can catch you in this area, so you're perfect. No one will know that you're right here. And he's like, what kind of business are you in that you would know that? That's interesting. Are you a call girl? I was like, this motherfucker. But something about Charles has kind of got me sketchy too, because I'm wondering, okay, where are you headed with this shit? But because I'm not completely sold on Charles, but I can definitely tell that Charles is intrigued with her. Because Candace is intriguing. So, after he asked her, was she a call girl, she was like, you know what, I'm going to bid you farewell and have a good night. Then, she goes at the bar, her and Oscar pretty much do this, like, dramatic performance, and, because she knows she really can't stand Oscar, but they're now working in cahoots. And he pretty much calls her a whore and is like, yo, how much can let me buy you a drink? How much is it going to cost for me to have a night with you? $5,000. And they go back and forth, and she ends up slapping his ass. But while all this is going on, he's playing along, and he's like, look, this is what you need to know. You got to hook this guy within 3 days because that's all you have. I'm going to set you up with a room that's adjoining to his, and yes, and then he was like, yeah. So you got to make this happen, and you got to make it happen quick because you don't have that much time. Yeah, so that's pretty much what happened there. Then afterwards, she ends up leaving and going to the elevator, and Charles ends up, catching the elevator with her. While they're on the elevator, they talk some more, and he actually apologizes for pretty much assuming that she was a whore. And she was like, cause she was on the elevator. She's like, "Wow, you think I'm a whore?" And then the guy at the bar thinks I'm a whore. This is just crazy. This usually doesn't happen to me. I can't stop playing. But it was cool though, because she's really playing the role. And the both of them are going back and forth or whatever. They're talking, and pretty much they find out that they're on the same floor, but not only that their rooms are right next to each other, and they have an adjoining door. Kind of like the setup with Maggie and David at the Sarandon. They have the same thing at the Artesian. Go figure, right? So, pretty much, they find out they pretty much discover that they're right next door to each other. Well, mainly Charles discovers that she's right next door. She goes in there. She pretty much escapes the whole fucking room, finds the cameras and like speakers and all of that, and she flushes it down the toilet. He immediately calls her and is like, "Girl, what are you doing?" And she's like, "Look, you're not gonna get me on camera or none of this shit. What kind of shit are you trying to run?" He's like, "No, I need this because I need to get him on tape. I need to get him on. I need to, get him on tape, and I need to get him on camera. Like, I need proof." Because, in order for this to work, I need proof that, as far as them trapping him. But, so she says that, "Look, won't you, yell as loud as you can right now on the phone?" And she pretty much yells like, "Oscar, leave me the hell alone!" And he's like, "Okay, good. That's my girl." And next thing you know, the phone rings again. She's thinking it's Oscar, but it's actually Charles. And Charles pretty much starts to talk to her, and she tells him, "Okay, open up the adjoining door." He opens the door. They kind of meet, and he says that, "Look," and pretty much he also while she's on the phone with Oscar lets her know, pretty much lets her know her story. That, look, you pretty much are a law student, on your last year of law, because there's law books in a laptop. Everything is set up in this room, because he got a room at the Artesian. And I'm like, wow, Candace then left the Fountain Drop Motel and got a damn suite at the damn Artesian. Go figure. And he pretty much says that, "Look, you are a law student in her last year of school. You're just here as like a getaway or whatever. And, this is the line that you feed them. So therefore, you completely flip the script." So when he opens the adjoining door, they talk, and she lets him know that, "Look, I'm a law student. I was actually here to meet my boyfriend, but then last thing I know, my boyfriend was actually having an affair with another woman on campus. So here I am. I'm stuck in this hotel room. I don't have any money. I don't have anything. I'm just a law student just trying to make it." And this softens him away, because he's like, "I'm really sorry about that. I assumed that you were a whore." And then he asks her to have a drink with him at the minibar. So she's like, "Okay, fine, but, we're going to have to do it on your tab because I don't have any money." But then we actually see that she pretty much billed, her drinks and everything to the room. So Oscar is pretty much taking care of her expenses. So she's pretty much working it. And she pretty much says that, "Look, it's going to have to be from your minibar because I don't have any money." So he's like, "Okay, fine, cool." And then she says, "Oh yeah, and this door will stay open." And he says, "Perfectly fine." But we can definitely tell he's definitely smitten with Candace. And so, and then on top of it, when it got to the elevator, he remembered her name. So the fact that he remembered her name, he's been marked. She got him. Next, we see that Jeffrey finally arrives back at Veronica's house, and this motherfucker Justin followed him there. Like, Justin is hooked on Jeffrey, and he hooked on Jeffrey hard. Like, Jeffrey, I don't know what you got between your legs, but it's did a complete whip appeal on Justin, and he's just singing like Babyface, like, work it on me. That's what's going on, because all of a sudden Jeffrey gets out of the car, Justin gets out of the car, and he's like, look, forgive me, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Jeffrey, I'm sorry. He's like, dude, you could have had me killed back there. And he's like, yeah, I know, I apologize. I'm just so not used to this. I've never felt this way before. And like, he's just kind of like explaining, like, look, I'm sorry, I kind of lost my head back there. And, Jeffrey was like, you know what? I can't deal with this shit. Like, dude, you literally lost your fucking cool. First of all, he's my best friend. He's been my friend since we were kids, and he's not gay. He's straight. And he's like, yeah, straight like me. He's like, oh, no. He doesn't do what you do. I'm like, that's right, Jeffrey. Correct his motherfucking ass. Like, no, he ain't married to a woman and fuck with men on the low like you're doing. So, bitch, no. He's straight. You're pretty much, DL confused and crazy as fuck. Let's be real. That's what Justin is. So, they pretty much, in that scene, he's still saying, like, Jeffrey, please forgive me. Come on, I'm not going to leave until you forgive me, Jeffrey. I really like you. I like you a lot. And he's like, and because, like, Jeffrey's like, man, please don't tell me that you're in love. He's like, no, but I do like you, and I like you a lot. And, I'm so sorry for everything, the way I treated you, and I just need you to forgive me. He's like, Justin, go home. He's like, forgive me. He's like, Justin, go home. He's like, look, I'm not leaving until you forgive me. And then next thing you know, damn Veronica shows up, because Veronica was upstairs, and she looked out the window and saw that Justin and Jeffrey were talking, and she could overhear some of the conversation. She immediately goes in and is like, so what is it that my son needs to forgive you for? Like, why are you asking for my son's forgiveness? What happened? And she said that he made a wrong left turn, and like, he said that he was kind of a bit harsh with him, and so he pretty much followed him home, to apologize, because he said he let him off the hook or whatever. So she's like, oh yeah, okay, She's like, Jeffrey, why don't you go inside so I can speak to the officer? And he's like, Mama, like, no, but go inside. Go in. Go on now. Go all the way in, Jeffrey, and shut the door. Okay. Now, are you going to tell me what's really going on, or am I going to have to report you to the chief of police? And if y'all remember, his nebby-ass mother, Pearl, the chief of police, I think, is Justin's uncle. So I'm like, yeah, that would be fucking crazy if the uncle hears about, Justin messing around with Jeffrey. That will really hit the fucking fan. That your damn uncle find out about you getting down on the low. But, he's pretty much he's like, no, he just made a traffic violation and I let him off the hook. She's like, first of all, there are no left turns to get to my house. And he's like, well, probably it's a right turn. It's like, oh, probably you're lying. Now, and she's like, you know what? I know your type. I sat across from many men like you, in court. So I'm going to let you know something. Stay away from my son. And then he was like, well, look, I'm being honest with you. I gave your son a warning. You should be grateful that I warned him and I didn't take him in. So I did him a favor. And she was like, yeah, but let me warn you. Stay the hell away from my son. Because you don't know who I am, and you don't know the kind of hell I can bring to you. So I'm like, Veronica she's already reporting live. And then already smelt out fucking Justin, because Justin is so obvious that he is hooked on Jeffrey. But yeah, after she pretty much let it be known, like, no, bitch, stay away from my son, he pretty much goes off. She goes in, and her and Jeffrey starts talking, and she's like, Jeffrey, I told your ass to come home hours ago. What the hell was going on with you and the cop? You know, what's going on with that? And Jeffrey is at first like in denial or whatever. And then she then all of a sudden she notices like, oh my God, you have that look. You have that same look that you used to have in your eye for Wyatt. You got for this fool. Like, really, Jeffrey? I can't. And then all of a sudden she was like, I can smell him on you. I'm like, bitch. Then she's like, well, first of all, you mean to tell me you got that fine-ass girl up there waiting for you and you rather be running around with this raggedy-ass wannabe cop? This is what you're doing, Jeffrey? She's like, what? You're like, what's the problem, Jeffrey? You not man enough? You know, you need to stop doing all this little dumb boy shit and man the fuck up and be a man. And all of a sudden you see Jeffrey getting mad again. She's like, oh, what? What you gonna do, Jeffrey? Huh? You gonna find you another paring knife? Huh? That's what you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna let you know something. If you do that, she's gonna get your ass out of prison. Now get the hell out of my face. Go! I was like, oh shit. Veronica ain't fucking playing this time around. She's like, no, I'm gonna make this shit happen between you and motherfucking Melissa if it's the last thing I do. And now that she got all the ammunition to put Jeffrey down, you know, to put Jeffrey in jail, what makes you think she ain't gonna use that if it means it's gonna keep Jeffrey in line? So I'm like, Jeffrey, you done put yourself back into the lion's den, and sadly, I don't feel sorry for you this time. Because you should have just kept going forward, but you went back, and now that she's got her hooks back in you, she's going to play to win. And we know that's how Veronica does. Also, what we also see in this episode is that Wyatt actually finally calls the number that Jeffrey gave him, and they said they're going to be on their way, and they do in-home treatment, so they're going to be there, and they'll be there in a few minutes to help him. So we see that Wyatt has made the first step to getting help. Next, we see Hannah is at the police station. She came back. Her and Catherine on the phone. They have a conversation. She tells her about Candace and actually sends her a picture of one of the S&M pictures. She's like, oh, yeah, I forgot to warn you about that. Well, that's how your daughter got $7.4 million out of Jim. And, yeah, I actually kept one of the pictures, you know, to just hold on for my own, for you know, that I kept one of the pictures that the DA, or that George came by with. You know, I kind of kept one of them, you know, for my own personal, you know, for my own personal keepsake. And I'm like, that damn Catherine is a mess. But then again, now she got something to hold over Jim too. So I'm like, that's pretty cute. That's pretty cute. But then she pretty much tells her like, look, okay, I got to take care of something. I'm going to call you later. She's like, okay, we'll talk tomorrow. Next thing you know, we see that damn Hannah gets out the car because she's pretty much saying, she pretty much told Catherine that I don't know what to do. I need to save my daughter's life and I don't know where to begin. I don't know what to do. So what she ends up doing is going into the damn police station and pretty much reports that she knows where Candace is. Now I'm like, okay, you trying to save her from war, but then you're also trying to put her in the hands of the police. Like, so it's like, man, Candace can't win for nothing. But a good thing that Candace got away, because now she doesn't know where Candace is. Candace is now at the Artesian. She's no longer at the Fountain Drop. So this is going to get interesting, and I can see from next week, it's really going to get crazy. So I can't wait. But that's my review, guys. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell to get notifications every time I drop a video. You know, like this video, comment on this video, share this video. And I will be back with you guys next week for another episode of The Have and Have Nots. So until then, everybody, take care.